If you think Diddy being painted as a boogeyman is being blown out of proportion, think again. This video serves up a list of wild claims that will leave you questioning everything. Diddy is far more evil than you think. From owning an island where he traps his victims to secret underground tunnels below his house. Stay tuned as we delve into 10 of the weirdest facts about Diddy. Number 1 on our list. Diddy's relationship with his mother is more than a little unconventional. In an Instagram live session from 2022, Diddy went a step beyond the usual affectionate gestures when he kissed his mom on the lips and made a startling admission. "Yeah, my mom's single, for real," he said nonchalantly. "She's not just sitting at home, she's out there moving and shaking. Baby, she comes with me to the strip club. I don't care, real." While this may raise eyebrows, the family dynamics take an even darker turn. Number 2. What if I told you that unsettling behavior runs in Diddy's blood? Meet his son, Christian Combs, who seems to have inherited some of his father's troubling tendencies. In 2022, a woman named Grace Omar Cake was working as a bartender on Diddy's yacht when the atmosphere shifted from festive to frightening. At first, everything seemed perfect. Guests were drinking, dancing, and enjoying themselves. But as the day wore on, Grace began to feel increasingly unwell and disoriented. Things escalated quickly. She soon found herself cornered in a room with Christian, where she would later allege that he harassed and assaulted her. In an audio recording that CNN reviewed, Grace can be heard expressing her fears of being drugged, specifically questioning Christian about a tequila shot he was urging her to take. His chilling response, "Take the shot." In her struggle to escape the situation, Grace eventually managed to break free, but the trauma of that day haunted her. By April 2024, she took action and filed a lawsuit against Christian, accusing him of drugging and assaulting her, which led to significant emotional distress. Fortunately, she had support from music producer Lil Rod Jones, who was reportedly in the room when the incident occurred and had recordings to back up her claims. As the case unfolds, Christian could find himself facing serious consequences, possibly mirroring the legal troubles that have plagued his father. The family legacy of bizarre and troubling behavior may not be as far removed as they would like to think. But let's get into something that is even weirder. For number 3, what if I told you that Diddy's favorite part of working in the music industry involves some scandalous affairs? In fact, he's been open about his past escapades, including his admission of having slept with Usher. In an unexpected moment of candor, Diddy shared a memory that sounded almost comical at first. "That's my brother right here," he said, gesturing to Usher. "From day one, we used to wake up, and I mean damn. Pause. Back in the day, when he was just 10 and I was a little older, we would wrestle over the Frosted Flakes. For real. We were actually wrestling for cereal because he always got up early. Now look at him. One of the richest in the world." But there's more than just playful banter behind this brotherly love. Gene Deal, Diddy's former security guard, added a layer of intrigue to their relationship. "You know Puff is making jokes about how they used to wrestle for the Frosted Flakes in the morning." And yeah, I bet they did. "Somebody frosted somebody's flakes without the milk." His words hinted at a deeper, perhaps more risque connection. Rumors swirl in the music industry about Diddy's alleged affairs with some of the top male rappers. Deal recounted a particularly eye-opening experience when he found himself outside the hotel room where Diddy and Ja Rule were, as he put it, having a freak-off. He described the scene vividly. "Next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite, so I opened the door. This dude said, 'Yo, I'm here for my cousin.' I asked, 'Who's your cousin?' He replied, Zhao,' I told him. 'Well, he's busy right now.' The man pressed, 'Busy doing what?' And that's when Deal dropped the bombshell. I said, 'He's with Puff. They don't want to be bothered.' but the situation escalated when the guy tried to force his way in. I grabbed him and threw him against the piano. Puff and Ja Rule ran out of the room, both of them butt naked, towels in hand. Diddy, looking a bit flustered, turned to Ja and asked, "Yo, what happened?" To which Deal responded, "I told him he couldn't get in the room." Diddy then quipped, "Yo, Ja said you didn't want to go in there 'cause a lot of freaking was going on." Some might brush these stories off as mere rumors, but the court documents paint a more scandalous picture. They not only allege that Diddy hired male escorts for himself, but they also claim he had a romantic encounter with star rapper Meek Mill. Now, let's dive into something that might shock you. For number 4, how many of you knew that Diddy's rise to fame was marred by a tragic event involving 9 deaths? Picture this. It was December 1991, and Diddy, then an up-and-coming name in the music scene, had a vision of becoming the new face of hip-hop. To kickstart his career, he decided to host a celebrity basketball game in New York City. However, there was a significant problem. Diddy had hardly any planning in place. The day of the event arrived, and an overwhelming crowd descended upon the arena. Over 5,000 people showed up, but the venue could only hold half that number. Minutes before tip-off, chaos erupted. The energy in the air shifted from excitement to pandemonium as those who couldn't get in broke through barriers, storming the arena with a fierce determination. Security guards were quickly overpowered, and panic set in as people were crushed in the rush. Outside the arena, the scene was even more harrowing. Thousands more were clamoring to get in, and reports indicated that nearly 10,000 people were outside, pushing and shoving in a desperate attempt to enter. "You could see people just laid out, completely limp," one witness recalled, describing the grim situation. Emergency calls flooded in as the reality of the situation became clear. "We've got a lot of people here dead in the gymnasium, please," the operator pleaded. To the outside world, this was a horrific tragedy, but for Diddy, it marked the beginning of his notoriety. "That's really how I started to become famous, through a tragedy," he reflected in later years. It was a painful turning point that shaped his public persona. He recalled a time when someone referred to him as a tragic hero, comparing him to characters from Shakespeare. I said, "What does that mean?" And they explained that Shakespeare always has a tragic hero, someone whose flaws lead to their downfall. But that's not all. Let's delve into a chilling chapter of Diddy's life that reveals how he has allegedly manipulated the careers of some of music's biggest stars. For number 5, we need to shine a light on the troubling pattern of Diddy's interactions with young artists. It all begins in 2016 when Usher opened up during an interview on The Howard Stern Show about a curious experience from his childhood, the infamous Puffy Flavor Camp. "I moved to New York City and lived with Shan, Puffy, for a year," Usher revealed, a statement that drew gasps from listeners. He recounted how this was all part of a plan orchestrated by music executive L.A. Reid, who thought it would be a good idea for Usher, then just 13 years old, to live with a 23-year-old Diddy. "We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp. There you go," Usher recalled. But the unsettling truth doesn't stop there. As researchers dug deeper, they uncovered a disturbing history. Diddy has been accused of grooming young artists over the years. Oriole Day, Lil Rod, Young Miami, Daphne Joy, and Cassie are just a few names that have come forward, sharing stories of harassment and manipulation by Diddy during their formative years. Some even filed lawsuits against him. Then there's Justin Bieber, a name that sparks a sense of curiosity. When Justin was just 15 years old, he released a video alongside Diddy announcing a wild adventure that would last 48 hours. Check this out. "Yo, Justin, he's in... You ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now he's having 48 hours with Diddy," Diddy announced with a grin. "He and his boy are having the times of their lives. Like, you know where we hanging out and what we doing? We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I don't really have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, And we going to go full buck, full crazy. There's an eerie discomfort in those words, especially when you consider the implications of a grown man declaring he'll go full crazy with a teenager. Fast forward a few years, and the two found themselves in another video where Diddy confronted Justin, playfully yet pointedly asking why he hadn't been returning his calls. "Everything's good. Selling out arenas and everything starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out?" Diddy pressed. Justin's response was cautious, hinting at the underlying tension. "I mean, you haven't. You tried to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot, but you never really got my number." Considering everything we know now about Diddy and his so-called puffy flavor camp, it's hard not to speculate that he may have attempted to put Justin through a similar experience as the other artists who have come forward. It raises eyebrows and concerns about the dynamic between Diddy and the young stars he has taken under his wing. All I can say is, I genuinely hope Justin is doing well and has managed to navigate this complex world safely. Diddy's legacy is shrouded in secrecy and intrigue, and for number 6, we have to peel back the layers on a name that's changed as often as the man's reputation. What if I told you that the only reason Diddy has flipped his name like a script is to cover up the shadows of his past crimes? For years, Diddy has been linked to some of the wildest schemes to keep his misdeeds under wraps. Picture this: the extravagant white parties he threw, infamous in the industry for their over-the-top glamour. But there was one catch: his invitations were designed to self-destruct. "You used to invite me to your parties? And you did?" you might ask in disbelief. Yeah, you did. I can personally attest to this because I once received one of those invites myself. The whole concept was high-tech and high concept, straight out of a spy movie. One invite I got revealed the party details, but ended with a dramatic message. This message will self-destruct, but it gets darker. In 2023, reports surfaced claiming that Diddy paid a hotel a staggering $50,000 to destroy a tape of him assaulting his then-wife. That's the kind of desperate measure that would send any man scrambling for cover. It was becoming clear, if Diddy wanted to keep evading the law, he needed a new identity to go along with his ever-changing reputation. In the 90s, after he assaulted an Interscope Records employee, he changed his name from Puffy to Puff Daddy, a calculated move to distance himself from the scandal. Then came the infamous nightclub shooting in New York, which prompted yet another name change to P. Diddy. In just a decade, he switched his identity 3 times, but it was all just a smokescreen. Eventually, after being charged with bribery and criminal possession of a weapon, he simplified it to Diddy, as if shedding the previous layers would somehow erase the past. But it didn't end there. By 2021, as more allegations against him mounted, Diddy decided to completely reinvent himself, adopting the moniker Love. Just Love. A name stripped of all its former baggage, but how could anyone truly believe that a man with a history like his could just start over? After a series of alleged assaults against those around him, Diddy made the audacious decision to revert to Diddy, perhaps thinking that the name change would cloud his history enough to allow him to slip back into the public eye without any questions. But his facade began to crack when his former security guard, Gene Deal, stepped into the spotlight, ready to expose the truth. "Being Diddy rich takes a guy that once named himself Puffy," Gene said. After every tragedy he faced, he had to change his name. Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy. But deep down, he knew this wouldn't last forever. You may not realize it, but number 7 on our list reveals a chilling truth. Diddy has allegedly tried to kill 3 of the most iconic rappers of all time. The backdrop is the 1990s, a pivotal era in hip-hop when the music scene was dominated by 2 colossal figures: Biggie Smalls, Diddy's best friend and star of his Bad Boy Records, and Tupac Shakur, the fierce West Coast rival whose charisma and talent had captured the world. In a world where records were the currency of success, Tupac was the kingpin, boasting an impressive run in the industry. "I sold 5 million in 2 months," Tupac would boast, while Biggie struggled to reach 2 million despite his connection to Diddy and his heavy New York presence in music videos. By 1996, Tupac was undeniably the #1 rapper, with everyone eager to align with him or emulate his style. When asked about his rivalry with Biggie, Tupac downplayed the animosity, stating, "We are businessmen. We are not animals." He implied that they could coexist, but there was an undercurrent of tension simmering beneath the surface. This rivalry was not just a musical competition. It had escalated into something far more dangerous. Tragedy struck on September 7, 1996, when Tupac was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. He succumbed to his injuries just days later, at the tender age of 25. The aftermath of his death was chaotic. With no arrests made, conspiracy theories flourished, suggesting that Diddy might have orchestrated the hit out of jealousy over Tupac's staggering success. Fast forward to 2023, and a significant breakthrough occurred when a man named Keith D. was arrested for his connection to Tupac's murder. During police interrogation, he claimed that Diddy had offered him $1 million to take Tupac out. This shocking revelation painted Diddy in an even darker light. But the saga didn't end there. Following Tupac's death, Biggie Smalls became Diddy's next target. Once, they were inseparable, with Diddy looking at Biggie as a surrogate brother. But as their relationship evolved, so did the tensions. Biggie, feeling suffocated and wanting to break free from Diddy's controlling grasp, announced he was leaving Bad Boy Records. For Diddy, this was unacceptable. He detested competition and could not let Biggie slip away. Desperate to keep Biggie close, Diddy convinced him to fly to California to finish recording his new album, assuring him that it was the best move for his career. But in a grim twist of fate, while Biggie was at the studio, a group of armed West Coast gangsters stormed in and killed him. His funeral was a grand affair, attended by thousands, and when Hypnotized played, the crowd erupted in grief and celebration of his life. In the wake of Biggie's murder, questions arose about Diddy's motives. Why would he risk flying Biggie out to Los Angeles when tensions were running high and Tupac had just been shot? John Deal, Diddy's former security guard, offered a harrowing insight. He believed Diddy had set Biggie up. "Why would you rent studio time in LA when you have your own studio at Diddy's house?" Gene questioned. "Let's keep it real. Puff didn't want that beef." As if that wasn't shocking enough, the narrative takes a more sinister turn. Earlier in 2024, unsettling news surfaced about an incident involving Diddy's ex-wife, Cassie. According to another former bodyguard, Roger Bonds, Diddy's jealousy flared when he discovered Cassie was flirting with Kid Cudi in 2012. In a twisted act of rage, Diddy allegedly ordered someone to throw a Molotov cocktail into Cudi's car through the sunroof. Bonds revealed, "Mr. Combs told Miss T that he wanted to blow up Kid C's car and that he wanted to ensure Cudi was home with his friends when it happened." Miraculously, Kid Cudi was not inside the vehicle when it exploded, but the sheer audacity of Diddy's actions paints a disturbing picture of a man willing to go to extremes to eliminate perceived threats. This attempt on Kid Cudi's life is just one of the many charges Diddy is currently facing while locked up, adding yet another layer to the dark and tangled web of violence and betrayal that surrounds his name. What if I told you that number 8 on our list reveals a chilling truth? Diddy may have predicted his own downfall. For years, celebrities have tried to warn us about him, and many of us brushed off their concerns as mere gossip or exaggeration. However, looking back, the signs were there, hidden in plain sight. Take a moment to revisit a clip from 1998 during an interview with Mike Tyson. In a seemingly casual moment, Tyson instinctively moves Diddy's hand away from his leg, a gesture that, while subtle, hinted at an underlying discomfort that would go unnoticed by most viewers at the time. It's a small moment, but it paints a picture of the tension surrounding Diddy, even among his peers. Fast forward to 2000, when comedian Rosie O'Donnell made an offhand remark during her talk show. While discussing the nominees for that year's Grammy Awards, she quipped, "Sean Combs, 5 to 10, he going to jail." At first glance, her comment appears to be a playful jab, but with the benefit of hindsight, it takes on a more sinister tone. Rosie, known for her blunt humor, added, "I don't mean to be mean because he's a nice guy and he can really sing," almost as if she was trying to soften the blow of her prediction. It's chilling to think that, even back then, there were whispers suggesting that Diddy was on a path to destruction. In 2023, comedian Kevin Hart added to the chorus of warnings, ominously stating, "All lies will be exposed soon." He declared, "All of these deviants are all catching hell in 2024. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is." His words foreshadowed a reckoning that many believe would soon come for Diddy, revealing a collective unease among the entertainment community regarding his conduct. But perhaps the most bizarre prediction came directly from Diddy himself. In a 1999 interview with Entertainment Tonight, he made a startling admission that would prove prophetic. "They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man," he lamented, seemingly oblivious to the implications of his words. "They don't want me to throw the parties no more, but we ain't going to stop. We're going to keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life." Diddy seemed aware of the potential fallout, foreseeing a future where his actions would lead to trouble. "You're going to hear about my parties. They're going to be shutting them down. They're probably going to be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just 'cause we want to have a good time." In retrospect, his words carry a heavy weight, suggesting that Diddy had an inkling that his lavish lifestyle and reckless behavior would eventually catch up with him. It's as if he was, in a way, beckoning fate while simultaneously being blind to the consequences. When you take a closer look at Diddy's childhood, it becomes clear how the experiences of his early years shaped him into the complex figure he is today. For number 9 on our list, you might not have realized just how profoundly Diddy's upbringing in the Bronx influenced his development. Diddy was born Sean Combs and grew up in a challenging environment, marked by tragedy. When he was just 3 years old, his father was tragically involved in a drug deal that went horribly wrong, leading to his instant death. Reflecting on this loss, Diddy has shared, "My father, he was killed when I was 3 years old. I don't have a lot of memories of my father." This absence created a profound void in his life, one that would shape his identity in ways he couldn't have imagined. In the wake of her husband's death, Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, recognized the urgent need to escape their dangerous surroundings. She moved Diddy and his family to Mount Vernon, New York, seeking a fresh start and a better life. However, the town that was meant to provide safety and opportunity ended up bringing new challenges that only deepened their struggles. While Diddy attended a private school, Janice worked tirelessly, juggling 3 jobs to afford the tuition. With his mother often absent, Diddy found himself largely alone, which led him to seek companionship and affirmation in dangerous ways. Lacking parental guidance and support, he became increasingly rebellious and began to spiral. He later recalled, "I sold drugs for like a day, and I got chased by helicopters. Doors got kicked down. It was probably the unluckiest day for a drug dealer. I was willing to do anything to get to it." This early brush with the law was just a glimpse of the chaos that would soon follow. At the tender age of 12, Diddy experienced another significant milestone, losing his virginity. His youth was marred by turmoil, and he frequently found himself in physical confrontations with other kids. One fight in particular would leave a lasting impression on him and help shape the man he would eventually become. He recounted a moment when his grandmother sent him to the store to buy cigarettes. On his way, he encountered a bully who demanded his money. Diddy handed over the cash and returned home empty-handed. His mother's reaction was stern. She told me if I didn't go back and get the money, I couldn't come home. With no other option, Diddy set out to confront the bully again, despite feeling defeated and crying over the situation. He eventually found a friend who encouraged him to reclaim his money, leading to a physical altercation with the bully. Although he lost the fight, the experience was pivotal. Diddy realized that his mother was instilling vital life lessons in him. She was always telling me if somebody hit me, make sure I hit them back harder. Make sure they never hit me again. Make sure I exow them up. This mentality of fighting back and never showing weakness became a cornerstone of Diddy's character. The harsh lessons learned in his childhood, combined with the absence of nurturing figures, contributed to his transformation into a man who navigated the entertainment industry with a relentless, sometimes ruthless drive. As we delve deeper into the unsettling saga surrounding Sean Combs, commonly known as Diddy, there's one final fact that's not just bizarre, it's downright terrifying. In 2024, as legal troubles began to mount against him, whispers of his infamous parties circulated. But it turned out there was something sinister lurking beneath the surface. Something Diddy referred to as freak-offs. These so-called freak-offs were shrouded in such a disturbing atmosphere that they are nearly unspeakable in public forums. However, what has emerged paints a grim picture. These gatherings involved gallons of alcohol, massive amounts of baby oil, and even IV drips to keep participants conscious and alive. Reports suggested that these events weren't entirely consensual. Attendees sometimes found themselves coerced or held against their will. In a shocking revelation from 2002, Diddy himself made a chilling admission about his control over women, stating, "If you don't have what they need, they're going to leave, right? You gotta keep them there, right? You need locks on the doors?" This statement, initially perceived as a provocative take on relationships, now takes on a more menacing tone, leading many to question the nature of his gatherings. While many partygoers shared stories of bizarre and shocking experiences, the true nature of the freak-offs reportedly occurred in hidden locations, accessible only to a select few. Adding to the intrigue, in September 2024, alarming reports emerged about Diddy's residence, which included underground tunnels leading to an undisclosed cave. Speculation ran rampant about how these secretive passages were connected to the freak-offs. Authorities, in a series of raids, discovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, alongside an arsenal of AR-15 rifles, narcotics, and other suspicious items. The sheer volume of baby oil raised eyebrows, prompting theories that it served as a cover for something much darker, such as liquid ecstasy used to incapacitate victims during these gatherings. The idea that Diddy could be drugging individuals at his freak-offs is chilling. While the possession of baby oil itself isn't illegal, the context surrounding its large quantity is troubling. The authorities' decision to seize all the bottles raises significant concerns about the activities occurring behind closed doors. In a bid to mitigate the mounting evidence, Diddy's lawyer attempted to downplay the situation, claiming, I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street, you know. I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know." However, Costco swiftly countered this defense, stating that none of its locations stock baby oil. In the latest developments regarding Sean Diddy Combs, his legal team is adamant that he has never sexually assaulted anyone. This assertion comes amid serious accusations against him, including a recent lawsuit claiming he assaulted a 16-year-old boy back in 1998. Last year, Diddy reportedly paid around $30 million to his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, to settle her allegations of assault and abuse. Additionally, he was captured on video in 2016 physically attacking the singer in an LA hotel. Despite these controversies, Diddy's lawyers remain confident in his innocence as they face multiple new lawsuits, with 6 recently filed in federal court today. They are particularly focused on discrediting the Houston attorney Tony Busby, who represents the 4 men and 2 women involved in the latest claims. Busby has indicated that he plans to file nearly 100 more lawsuits against Diddy in the coming weeks. The legal team stated, "The press conference and 1-800 number that preceded today's barrage of filings were clear attempts to garner publicity. They expressed their full confidence in the integrity of the judicial process, insisting, 'In court, the truth will prevail. Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman.' As it stands, Diddy is also fighting nearly 20 other civil cases, as well as federal charges related to sex trafficking, which carry a potential life sentence if he is convicted. The ongoing legal battles have put the once celebrated mogul in a precarious position as he navigates the court system while currently incarcerated. Recently, Texas lawyer Tony Busby began following through on his promise from last week to file lawsuits on behalf of approximately 120 alleged victims of Sean Diddy Combs. He submitted 6 new lawsuits in federal court in New York, representing 4 John Does and 2 Jane Does. The allegations span from 1995 to 2021, and among the plaintiffs are a 19-year-old woman and a 16-year-old boy. One case involves a now 42-year-old North Carolina resident who claims that at a 1998 white party in the Hamptons, Combs demanded the teen drop his pants and do the wrong things. As has been reported in previous lawsuits against Combs, there were claims that he promised to help the victim pursue a career in the music industry if he remained silent about the incident. The other 5 lawsuits filed today echo similar claims, detailing how men and women were allegedly drugged with spiked drinks and assaulted by Combs and his entourage during various parties and events, often in plain sight. One particularly disturbing incident allegedly took place at Macy's flagship store in New York City in May 2008. According to the claims, Combs forced an employee of the clothing brand Echo to perform oral sex on him as punishment for working with a competitor of Combs' own clothing line, Sean Jean. Following the assault, Combs reportedly went out on the main sales floor to distribute Sean Jean merchandise to fans, while the victim was fired shortly thereafter after reporting the incident to Macy's and Echo. Busby addressed the situation, stating, "We will let the allegations in the filed complaint speak for themselves, and will work to see that justice is done." He added that he anticipates filing many more cases in the coming weeks, naming Combs and others as defendants as they continue to gather evidence. Facing the possibility of life in prison if found guilty of sex trafficking and other charges from his arrest on September 16th, Sean Combs is also battling nearly 20 civil cases. Rumors about Combs's violent behavior and heavy-handedness have circulated for decades, but things escalated last November when his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit against him for assault and abuse. Although Combs denied the allegations, he settled the case for $30 million less than 24 hours later. His denials took a hit when a 2016 hotel surveillance video surfaced, showing a nearly naked Combs physically assaulting Ventura in an LA hotel room. At the time, he issued an apology regarding his actions in the video. Recently, that video has played a role in Combs' efforts to secure pretrial release in his criminal case. His defense team has criticized the Department of Homeland Security, claiming they leaked the tape. However, the U.S. Attorney's Office has denied this, stating that DHS never had access to the video and that the Southern District of New York's Department of Justice only learned of it when it hit the media. Currently, a motion for appeal regarding his bail was filed last week after 2 previous attempts to secure Combs' release from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn with a $50 million bond and home detention were unsuccessful. His trial is scheduled to begin on May 5th. 2025. Regardless of the truth behind these alarming claims, one undeniable fact remains. Diddy is far from the public persona he has cultivated over the years. As the investigations unfold and more information comes to light, it becomes increasingly clear that the man once celebrated for his contributions to music and culture is now embroiled in a narrative of darkness and deception. The reality of who Diddy is may soon be revealed, and it's a truth that many are not prepared to face.